This isn't going to be a professional video or a pretty video, but this morning while I was walking, I like to listen to my coursework, and I wanted to hear more on the why hierarchy of managerial communication, even if I'm not saying that word right. But I'm going to read part of my syllabus from the University of Phoenix, and maybe this will help somebody because I couldn't find anything on YouTube. I'm a senior at the University of Phoenix, and I'm taking a communications class, and this is the material they have given me on the why hierarchy of managerial communication. Communication is the foundation of managerial competence. Through a variety of styles, media, and methods, managers communicate information and instructions and intentions up, down, and across the organization chart. To effectively communicate, however, managers need to know more than just the content of the message. They also need to understand the function intended in the message. At the most basic level, the three functions of a business communication are to inform, to persuade, or to collaborate. Although this is a good beginning, there are at least two additional communication functions a good manager should be aware of: to acknowledge and to empathize. These last two are not usually included as business functions because they are more personally than professionally oriented. However, with the current attention being paid to EI, emotional intelligence, in the workplace, it is important to understand these additional functions. This purpose of this supplement is to create a usable business communications hierarchy that explores the function of communications by level of interaction, purpose, and communications content. Scrolling down, you'll see the diagram, and I'll continue reading. Communications intent and content are divided into 4 levels: acknowledgement, recognition, conversation, and information and empathy. This hierarchy is a matter of convenience and does not mean any level of communication is more important than the other. Rather, it suggests an increasing level of communications complexity as the level blend into one another, moving from acknowledgement to information and empathy. Acknowledgement. Most people desire acknowledgement as individuals. Many cultures use the withholding of acknowledgement, Coventry, banishment, or solitary confinement as forms of punishment. Imagine how you would feel walking down the hall where you work if no one appeared to be aware of your presence. The primary intent of acknowledgement is an act of courtesy, part of the cultural norms that maintain an organization's integrity. In business, acknowledgement can also be a motivator or convey status, such as when the boss nods to Mary or Sean, but smiles at Meg and Cliff. No words are necessary to say, "I'm aware of you," when we have some level of relationship. Recognition. One step up in communications complexity is recognition. Here the intent is not only to acknowledge the presence of another person, but also to say, "I have or would like to have more than nodding acquaintance with you." This is still an on-the-move relationship, but now both parties are expected to say something to recognize the duration or degree of the association. Recognition is the realm of phatic communications or small talk. Phatic communications are stereotyped or stock phrases that create a feeling of sociability rather than convey information or ideas. "Hey, how are you?" "Fine. Great weather we're having. Let's do lunch." Generally, phatic phrases are not intended to elicit thoughtful responses. Like acknowledgement, they are part of the social ritual of minimal relationships maintenance. However, recognition also can confer status, and motivate individuals. For instance, when your vice president says, "That was an excellent report," as she passes you in the cafeteria. Conversation. Conversation builds relationships. The rules are simple. Have an opinion, share it, listen to the response, and start over again. Conversation is also the least likely level of the communications hierarchy to remain pure. The occasional fact, information level, or attempt at understanding empathy will comingly freely with rumors, grumbling over pay, and the latest joke off the internet. Conversation is the social glue for any organization. It is also an organizational stress reliever, safety valve. Employees need to gather at the water cooler and let off steam. A primary intent of conversation is sharing opinions and attitudes, sharing joys and fears, and sharing the tensions of the workplace. Conversation can also be a great motivator, moving the interaction functions up from levels of awareness and maintenance to the region of respect. From a managerial perspective, playing the conversation game well, particularly the listening role, is vital to career success. Information. The information level of the communication hierarchy is where the work gets done. Up and down the managerial chain, people give instructions, seek facts, and often reports. As with conversation level, people move in and out of the information mode as fact joins an opinion. I'm going to see how long this is. Okay, I'm almost done. Sorry. As with conversation level, people move in and out of the information mode as fact joins with opinion, and observation merges with speculation. Motivation also plays a major role at this level. In this case, however, the motivation comes from the Abraham Maslow, in his hierarchy of needs, refers to a self-actualization, pride in one's accomplishments and knowledge. In theory, communication at the information level is supposed to be unemotional and unbiased. This is not always realistic, though. That is why the communication hierarchy is a Y rather than an I. As the arrow of the information level shows, there is an open channel between information and empathy. An attempt to understand another emotion and motivation, labeled reasoning. There is no such thing as information in isolation. Reasoning, creating a balanced blend of facts and emotions to promote understanding, is one of the manager's most important skills. There's lots of good information in here. Empathy. In the early days of the industrial age, when the scientific management theories of Frederick Taylor, 1911, was highly influential, it was not part of the business credo to care what any employee thought or felt on the job. The goal was to get any task done as quickly, efficiently, and cheaply as possible. Today, empathy is a managerial, I know I'm not saying that right, survival skill. Empathy as an attempt to understand another person's emotions or motivations. Although it sits at the same level as information, this is the most complex area of communication interaction. It is the most difficult to get right. Here, as with the conversational level, good listening is paramount. This is also where a manager needs keen observational skills to know what part of communication hierarchy from which another person is communicating. An acute, empathetic awareness is particularly useful when leading or working in a group. By understanding individual motivations, a manager can knowingly guide group members through the traditional stages of the group life cycle. Empathy can also be a significant group or individual motivator. To feel that one is understood is another element in the Maslow needs of hierarchy. Although it is rare to find empathy listed explicitly as an organizational value, its presence is one of the defining characteristics of today's most successful business cultures. And there's some references if you need to reference this, and I appreciate your time. Have a good day.